Hello, everybody. I'm Lord Thunderpork, and I'm at the bottom of my mineshaft. I just went mining for a while, and I'm about to climb up. And you know what that means? It's time for MineTime. While I climb on up here, let me show you what my adventures were like underground. I took my gray parrot from last time, named TBD, mining with me. This was great. I got to hear alerts about mobs near me. But unfortunately, the mobs got too close. A creeper blew up TBD, and this made me more upset than I expected. After recovering, I descended again with iron armor this time, and I lit up the cave system. The caverns are enormous. I'm excited to turn them into an elytra course or something else that can display on a grand scale. I also stuck my nose where it didn't belong and found the deep dark. I explored until I set off a shrieker, and then I realized I should get some better gear before coming back. Throughout the night, more and more people kept joining the server, and so we got a gathering. I met Mercutio, who offered me some bees in return for some iron, which I'm very grateful for. We then resurrected Sarcastronaut's Discord connection with a seance, and got up to more general shenanigans throughout the night. Oh yeah, and I also made bank. I found 14 diamonds in one vein, so that's what I've been up to. Mining a lot. Unfortunately, we lost TBD the parrot, but overall, it was a good evening. Lots of productivity. As we exit this mineshaft, we're going to notice 3 things. The first thing is that it's raining. That's unfortunate. The second is we have another llama donator. That's very fortunate. And the third, this area doesn't look that pretty. We should change that. The first thing we can do is add some fence gates up at the top there to make it look like the rope pulley is pulling its rope beyond just vertically straight down. Let's do that now. Bam, 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 bam. Perfect. That looks much nicer. It doesn't quite connect, but it's close enough for now. Now it looks like the rope is double wound here around the pulley, and it's descending to lift the heavy buckets of ore from the depths. I also noticed something suspicious when joining today. It appears there is I'm not sure how to say this, Blarnyov joining, who left immediately when I joined. I'm not sure what this is about, but we'll have to investigate. Right now, I'm placing a fairly straightforward assortment of these blocks. I'm trying not to repeat the patterns too many times, so that it doesn't look repetitive and intentional. It's meant to look kind of more randomized. I think we're going to keep this open land shaft here because that was a big appeal of when I looked at this land in the first episode. I really liked how we could excavate down into this triangular slope. So I'm going to keep that. However, we're definitely going to build out some platforms that folks have adapted around the land. So the stone area will be here, and we'll probably have a terraced structure so that we have this here, then maybe another platform on this level, and then the dock load area will be a covered boathouse. I think that could look pretty great. Upon first exiting from a mining session, chances are the person will probably want to either store things or cook things. I think smelting makes sense to put over here. We'll put this group of furnaces that I may or may not have accidentally crafted over on this wall, and we'll have storage in the form of barrels or an assortment of chests over here. This will be the raw materials layer. We bring up copper ore, iron ore, raw things that need to be processed, and process them and then store them in their intermediate forms over here. I'm using tuff as a rougher supporting background base type brick color, because these bricks here were placed on purpose and used. I like to think that this would have been filler stones for stability reasons, used under these pieces and behind. Having another roof here seems important to protect the furnaces and the goods from being washed out and the heat dissipating. I'm using mangrove wood here. Sarcastronaut found some on an expedition and shared it with me. I decided to get fancy with the decor as well. I figured that because this is a furnace array that has been constructed with a purpose, it makes sense that it would have some more kind of reinforcement details around it. Oh yeah, this is already a much nicer coloration. I like how it matches the dirt, and kind of it's in between the mangrove planks, the dirt, and the rock. I like it a lot. Next up, I think one kind or another of these barrels and chest mixes could look pretty good here. So, for example, we could have a kind of an organized pile of barrels, and then we could put trapdoors on the side to make it look like it's a reinforced cask or shelf or something like this. I think that looks better than just having chests stored about on the ground. Once things are processed on the level above, I think they would flow down here to the second layer. This is where processed materials would really be carried. Things like melted iron and gold, with the ore blocks. Up here is kind of raw ore being processed, and then down here is supplies ready for export, that kind of thing. And again, we're going to layer tuff on the side to make it look like a supporting filler material, some kind of coarse aggregate. And maybe eventually we'll mix in another block, or not. Maybe it's best to have this distinct darker color as the support. That could be nice. Now, to travel between the layers, we have two options. We could use ladders, or we could use stairs. Ladders might be more realistic in terms of we have the step design, but stairs would be more convenient for players, so I think we'll go with stairs. Mining some more oak to make some oak stairs. I think oak is kind of the color of the mechanical parts of the mineshaft. The rope, the fences, the ladder down the shaft, and I think oak stairs could look good as well. Although, now that I'm saying that out loud, perhaps there could be a better color for stairs. Maybe jungle could look better. We take these stairs, and we probably want to offset them from the storage, so that storage is not directly right up against the stairs. Otherwise, I can imagine items falling down the stairs, and that would be uncomfortable for everybody involved. So instead, let's leave a gap about this much, and then have the stairs go up to the platform. I think it makes sense for the stairs to jut out a little bit from this bottom platform, so that they're easier to step onto. So that would suggest we have a stair step looking like this. So if the top level is where ores come out, are stored, and are melted, then the bottom is where they're going to be probably crafted, bent into shape, and cut. So we'll need a stone cutter. Let's craft one of those. Alright, we'll put this somehow arranged in a more logical fashion than they are now. Maybe materials will flow from the saw to the chest, and then the anvil and crafting bench are next to the chest. Something like this. For the sake of continuing the trend, let's build ourselves a third layer. So I think here is where the surface would be, and that means that there would be these two blocks filled with this filler material. That gets us a nice sense of how things are going to be laid out. And then perhaps beneath this level is now where the wooden pier is, extending out here. And we'll probably have some kind of smart machinery to load and unload chest boats with hoppers. Yeah, I like this. This is looking pretty good. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. So I log back in, and I'm over here, working on my dripstone, expanding the farm to get more dripstone. I realize I need some more sandstone to surround it to have the water be the same blocks. This is very temporary, by the way. This is all gonna go later, just to get started with dripstone. But then I walk over here and I notice, there's some pillagers in a boat. I wonder how they got there and how that got there. Kind of cool, but kind of inconvenient. And I look at what behind the pillagers. This is huge. This just popped up out of nowhere. There's this house, lovely design. There's these wheat fields, this kind of wall area. There's a dock. When did this get here? This is amazing. I want to figure out who built this. Very pretty. I also finally found a birch roof shape that I like. I was considering what to do since every roof color has its own shape, and I decided that birch will have an arch shape. This is meant for boats to come in and be kind of like a boat shed. Seeing those pillagers reminded me of my plans to get some better armor, because I actually have a decent amount of diamonds, as I mentioned earlier in the episode. We have a good stash, and I'd like to make some armor with it, but I don't want that armor to break. So I'm going to need mending, and villagers are a good source of mending. Because these guys are here, there's a village nearby. I think we should go find it. To start, I'm going to make a map that's a little bit bigger than last time. I want a map that's maximum size, so we can go exploring as far as we need. We're going to start with this map, as always, and then we're going to iteratively make it larger and larger. And we're going to do that by just scaling the map up, and up, and up, and up. Okay, maximum scale. Alright, time to sleep, then in the morning we'll get on the horse and get out of here. By the way, I have horses now. I even started breeding them to try and get a fast one. Because there's so much water here and everything seems to be connected by rivers, I actually think that starting exploration with a boat makes the most sense. We'll get an outline of the coast, and then we'll use the horse to fill in the gaps, where we're not sure what exists. I found another parrot. I'm not sure what to name this one, though the thought TBD2 came to mind. Rather unfortunately, it turns out that you cannot breed parrots. I had hoped that by getting two, I could get more colors, but it looks like you can only find them in the jungle. They cannot be bred. Wow, we've stumbled onto a large house area project. I'm excited to see what this is. Coming soon, bigger inn. Oh, this must be Mercutio's project. There's another project down here that we spent the night in and the gathering happened, where I traded for the bees. Should be right down there. That's right. It certainly is a larger inn. I'm excited to see how it progresses. The Wildflower Inn. If there's a bed in here, I might use one for the night. Employees only. Understood. We'll sleep in here for now. This is so nice. I should leave a tip. I'll leave this cornflower. It's a nice color. Hopefully it's appreciated. I see a cat and a desert, which suggests to me a desert village is nearby. Let's check it out. Oh, lovely. Look at that. A desert village and not very far away. A neat trick you can do is ring the bell, and then the villagers will tend to go towards their homes. This makes them easier to secure. I found an ocean monument. I'm also not sure where my parrot went, but I'm sure I'll find it again. I'm a responsible pet owner. Another ocean monument. I'm curious to see what the interactions between the ocean monument and the Mushroom Island are, because the Mushroom Island is a biome where enemies cannot spawn, and yet we have an ocean monument right here. My guess would be that the rates are very good, and there are a lot of guardians spawning in. Let's keep moving. And another ocean monument. There's enough to go around for everyone. Another village on the cliff. This one is an interesting one. It's a plains village, but it's raised up very high. Oh, torches. It looks like somebody has been here already. These pillars are really interesting. I really like how they're shaped. This reminds me of the old Farlands, back when that was in Minecraft. At the edge of something like 13 billion or trillion blocks out, the world generation started breaking, and you got these really interesting stone structures. They were called the Farlands. I might be able to live in a Farlands adjacent biome or something that looks similar. That would be nice. I just swam by what I assumed to be an island, but upon closer inspection, these are actually light-colored planks. Let's look inside the shipwreck for chests. Maybe a treasure map. Although based on these items, it looks like somebody has been here. Swimming underwater in Minecraft is so great. You can move around in 3D space and explore objects like this from different angles. I'm seriously considering having an underwater component to my base. This looks like the Mushroom Island that has become the base. I have to say, it looks really nice. I really like the mushroom house over here. And it does look like those two mushroom islands are pretty disconnected. So maybe I'll use the one in the top or left corner as a sort of experimental test land. Perhaps that'll be the story behind why the fungus took over. Imbalance in chemicals and other kinds of corruption. I really like how this looks. The mangrove trees add some nice aesthetic. I really like the idea of using that upper corner Mushroom Island as a testing bed for experiments, because the Guardian farm that could be built is so close. I think it would work really well to be able to funnel Guardians onto this weird island. I really like that idea, and I think I'm going to do that. Later in the season, of course. A fourth monument, so close to this one. I wonder if the Guardians are what made that ship sink. Could be plausible. Laser beams would tend to do that. I'm excited to have a Guardian farm precisely for that reason. Basically, laser beam attacks. I have a plan where I'll have something called the Red Stone Mesa, and that's because it's a double meaning. The mesa has red stone, as in the terracotta, and also it'll be very technological. So, redstone. The Redstone Mesa. And Guardians are a big part of that in the security system. Unfortunately, the security system only works against players, but I'm thinking I could make a minigame, maybe something like break into the vault. Something similar. That could be really fun. Here's the ocean monument, that will be the Guardian farm. Here's the Mushroom Island, that'll be the experimental wasteland. And there's an azalea tree. There's a lush cave underneath here. A peaceful, lush cave. That would be wonderful. Just me in a boat and a lovely mushroom. That was certainly a successful expedition. We found villagers, and we secured them. We found a future base and guardian farm location for the science lab and experimental testing on the Mushroom Island. Now the only thing left to do before we can bring villagers is make the route safe. And in order to do that, we need to take care of some grumbly folks. I'm hoping that I can keep one with the flag and only hurt this one. Perfect. Then I'll be able to pacify the one with the flag. And that way, they won't be able to hurt the villagers when they come over. The fishing village is coming together. We've got our mobs and boats over here. This will be the loading and unloading dock for mobs and animals. And then over to this side, this will be the loading dock for resources and materials. Goods that we need to ship to other places, be that another base or maybe someone else's house. I've got this minecart track going up. Eventually there's going to be some sort of hopper loading unloading system for boats, once I figure that out. And the minecart track is meant to be continuous. It can go up all the way here, back around, and start picking up items from the furnaces, from the barrels, moving down to the second layer. You can pick stuff up as processed ores, and then the really processed stuff, and maybe load back into your boat or Lamborghini. As the ores come out of the mineshaft, we see a minecart that can roll by every so often, and then the ores get put onto this conveyor belt to be moved into this pile, broken down into their individual components. You might notice I have a status indicator. This is bad omen. Some pillagers were bothering me, and I accidentally killed the raid captain. So we can't go to the village for about another hour or so. In the meantime, I've been breeding up llamas. We now have 8 llamas with 3 slots each, and it takes a lot of wheat to feed them, more than I have. Fortunately, it looks like we have a neighbor across the way who has a lot of wheat that I could harvest. Hopefully they don't mind too much. I'll make sure to replant, of course. There we go. All harvested and replanted. I have to say, this place looks very pretty. Yeah, I really like the details around the windows. Nice mailbox as well, although no name. Interesting. Oh well. We've done a good job cleaning up this area, and I think we should finish that up now. Let's start by removing this bamboo. Eventually, we're going to have a place for farming in the back of the village, kind of where the other clump of bamboo is now. So, time to remove this. I've also added in another mangrove red roof, because we're going to have another stall here, I'm thinking, with one of those slanted mangrove style roofs. I found this music disc underground, and Sarcastronaut gifted us a jukebox. Let's hear how it sounds. A little bit spooky, but it is nice to have some ambiance. This is the kind of song that makes me really want to jump around a corner, or look behind me. What does our parrot think? The parrot seems not as amused. If I remember correctly, parrots would dance when Noteblock jukebox songs played. But I guess he's not as big of a fan. So, let's move over our to-do bulletin. I don't remember putting that sign there. Watch your back, check mailbox. What do you think this means, Cacophony? I have to say, this music is perfect for this mystery. Well, I guess we'll find out what this is about. After that ominousness, let's breed some llamas. I get the sense there are too many llamas in this enclosure. We'll need to expand. The savanna's dry, it doesn't rain here, and we've had a thunderstorm already. Given that I'm building with wood, I'd rather it not get struck by lightning, so let's put a lightning rod down here. What's funny is this lightning rod, this copper ingot, and this spyglass were all crafted without smelting any copper. I have so many drowned in this river that I've gotten all this copper ingots. A lot has happened since the last recording, but this episode is already over 20 minutes long, so let's wrap things up. Long story short, I got diamond armor, I got a trident from one of the drowned, and I was so excited I wanted to go enchant it with channeling. Lord Thunderpork, lightning, it's all on brand. But getting channeling on this trident was really hard. I've spent the last few days at that enchantment table just swapping books in, spending lapis, and I think we need to switch to villagers. So starting next time, we're going to have a villager breeder, and we'll start on a project I'm calling the Hanging Library. I found a really interesting cave where we'll suspend bookshelves and librarians and be able to walk in this kind of fantasy library hanging from the roof of the cave. I think you'll like it. But for now, that'll be all today. Let's go to the comment book. We've done some more work here that I'll cover next time. Basically, the path continues, and there's this idea I have for a post office. The post office will have mailbox beehives over here for the village mail, and inside here, it'll have things like the comment book, a map of the area, stamps, a nice flower, an exchange desk for parcels, and our nether portal. At least that's the plan. But for today, the comment book. I noticed something suspicious when it came to the comment of the day this week. The comment of the day is again from Blargnov, the regular human. The comment reads, "Watch your back." Things are starting to make a lot more sense. We'll see you in the next episode. Now that the episode's over, it's time for me to go take care of villagers. Have a good one.